go. Scripture reading this morning is Philippians 4, verse 6, Matthew 11, 28 to 30, and Mark 2, 27, starting with Philippians. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And then Matthew, come to me, Jesus says, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. And then from Mark, and he said to them, the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. So I've entitled this morning's message, Reclaiming the Garden. And as you bear with me, you're going to understand why I've called it that. I, along with my mentor, have been reading along a book called Relentless Pursuit of Busyness. And it's all about reclaiming Sabbath rest and how we don't, as Christians, really take sometimes Sabbath rest. And some of us pastors are the worst at doing that, even though we preach about it. So I've been thinking more and more about Sabbath. And we know that's the day that it's at the end of the week that was made for us. The one that we often forget about, other than attending church services or going for a Sunday drive or gathering with friends and family for a meal, that we think that's the Sabbath. But yet Jesus reminded the Pharisees that the Sabbath was made for us. And I'm one of those people who find it very, very difficult to sit still for very long. Between my mind racing in every direction, my feet tapping when I'm trying to sit still, I feel that I have to be doing something. So I blame my genetics on both of my parents because they swayed towards workaholism. They seldom knew what it was like to take it easy. I would witness my mother buzzing around the home, constantly cleaning and baking and cooking, and you could eat off her floors, they were so clean. My dad would work long, hard days as a hydroman, and then he'd come home and he'd work. I only wish that they had learned how to slow down so that they could have taught us to do the same thing. But you know, we live in a very busy world. There's so much out there. The technology and the media have us wired to be so busy. Even the way that we were taught when we were younger, be all that you can be, work until you are tired and you'll achieve so much more. To me, I think that's partly created the problem with this hurriness and this busyness. And I found this article on LinkedIn. I belong to LinkedIn and I love it so much more than Facebook. LinkedIn gives you the ability to reach out to other businesses and other professionals, and it's really interesting. And so you can read their podcasts and posts and all kinds of things. You can read it every day if you want to. And I found this site so much more practical. It's that we used to post every last iota on Facebook and other platforms, things that we've done, like what we ate for supper the night before, complete with all the pictures for everyone to see. That drives me nuts after a while. And sometimes really it's a lot of unnecessary things being posted. I think it's for attention sometimes. So I found this Lynn Levy. She's this contributor for aspiring leaders, and she's written a contribution toward what it's like to slow down. So in her composition, she's written the title, The Myth That Being Busy is a Good Thing. So she says this: when I run into a friend on the street or at work and I ask them how they're doing, the answer is always, usually, I'm busy. When was the last time you ran into someone who said, I'm fabulous? In today's society, being busy is an addiction and a medal of honor. Throughout much of her 30s, she says, I won many awards in the busy Olympics. I was proud of the fact that my days were jam-packed. I would start working at 6 a.m. with emails, get the kids ready, be in the office by 8, work all day, pick up the kids, make dinner, and then back to some more emails. I bragged about being the queen of busyness. While waiting for my children, I would start a conversation with fellow working moms. We would end up in a debate of which one of us has the most busy life. We would talk about how we would have no time for ourselves, how much we dedicated to our jobs, our children, and our spouses. Although a lot is going on and a vast amount that we do, we also have become prone to creating hectic lifestyles to avoid any deep thought or reflection. So I was terrified of what would happen if I slowed down. Being busy can make us feel important and make us feel valued. It helps us feel like we're enough. For example, if I'm busy at work, then I must be successful. If I'm busy at home, then I must be a fabulous mom. Like countless women, being busy is a source of validation. So I was stressed. I was exhausted and miserable. The data tells us the largest issue with busyness is the impact it has on our health. Stress caused by being so busy can significantly impact our physical and our mental health. Stress puts our brain into overdrive, which affects our immune system and our cardiovascular system. The other impact of being busy is the regret and the guilt. The guilt that comes with knowing that you are not present for the moments that matter. The guilt that comes with knowing you are not taking care of yourself. The guilt that comes with living with stress and anxiety day after day after day. I have worked with so many clients who love the busyness, but have forgotten how to live a life with joy. The good news is, though, there are things that we can do to slow down, to break our addiction to being busy. Once we break this addiction, our health improves and we start to reclaim our lives and our careers. But Jesus calls us to rest. Eugene Peterson's paraphrase with the message from Matthew 11:28-30 says, "Are you worn out? Are you tired? Are you burned out on religion? Well, come to me. Get away with me and you'll recover your life. And I'll show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me. Work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. And I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. So keep company with me, and you'll learn to live freely and lightly." So I highlighted what Jesus said. You'll recover your life, and I'll show you how to take a real rest. So walk with me and work with me and watch how I do it and learn those unforced rhythms of grace. How did we get so far away from the mark of a real rested Sabbath? Is it that we've moved inward instead of outward? Is it that we as humans find it easier to take the wheel on our own instead of placing it all upon Him, the author and the finisher of our faith? Do we want it all? Is it all about us? Have we become the overachievers and built the Tower of Babel in the effigy of ourselves so well? Or it is also what Lynn said in her composition when she said, "I was terrified of what would happen if I slowed down." Being busy can make us feel important and valued, she says. It helps us feel like we are enough. And I puzzled at that. It helps us feel like we are enough. For example, if I'm busy at work, then I must be successful. And I know, I've done it myself. I worry that I'm not doing enough for Jesus, or maybe my church, or my family, or my friends. I sometimes feel I let the fear get the best of me. I've taken over the steering wheel of life, only to find myself driving the highway into oncoming traffic of my own life walk. And I'm ashamed. I should know better. I'm a pastor. I've served Jesus since I was 15. I should have gotten the picture by now. And then I look all around my home and I say, do I need all this stuff? All this stuff that collects dust, that causes more work, that we have to dust and clean. It looks nice. It fits perfectly within my achievements of things. But when all is said and done, When I stand before my Lord, will I say, well, look at all the things, Jesus. Look at all these neat things I've collected. Look what I've achieved. It won't go down very well, I can assure you. So again, I say, I'm reading this book with my mentor. And we're reading it together, and it makes so much sense. Probably more than any other book I've ever read or any other article about Sabbath rest. In his book, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, How to Stay Emotionally Healthy, John Mark Comer says, the Sabbath is like a guerrilla warfare tactic. If you want to break free from the oppressive yoke of Egypt's taskmaster and its relentless, restless lust for more, just take a day each week and stick it to the man. Don't surf the web. Don't read the magazine. Oh, that bathtub would be nice upstairs. Just put all that away and enjoy it. Drink deeply from the well of ordinary life. A meal with friends. Time with family. A walk in the forest. Or perhaps afternoon tea. Above all, slow down long enough to enjoy life with God, who offers everything that materialism promises, but can never ever deliver on, namely contentment. He says in the words of Ronald Rothheiser, the theologian, so much of our unhappiness comes from comparing our lives, our friendships, our loves, our commitments, our duties, our bodies, and even our sexuality to some idealized, non-Christian vision of things which falsely assures us that there is a heaven on earth. And when that happens, and it does, our attentions begin to drive us mad, in this case to a cancerous relentlessness and restlessness. True restfulness, though, is a form of awareness, a way of a being in life. It's living ordinary life with a sense of ease and gratitude and appreciation and peace and prayer. We are restful when ordinary life is enough. And I think of our Japanese friends, and I have followed them online sometimes. And there's a little Japanese lady that you can hire in your house. She'll go through your things and she'll say these things, just like he said. Ordinary life is enough. Things are not. We don't need them. Not all of them. She'll help you scrape all that away and come down to what you really need. Minimalism. And I think of this story that tells about this man and his wife buying a motorbike and a Vespa scooter for her. And he says, we were first married back in the glory days of double income and no kids. So my wife bought me a motorbike for Christmas. Yes, the wifery is awesome. So naturally, I had to reciprocate. So a few months later, for our anniversary, I bought her a Vespa. A brand new sky blue happiness on wheels. Her Vespa had this device called the governor on it. I didn't know what that meant. Turns out it's a little cap on the engine that keeps it from going over 50 miles an hour. Under Oregon law, as long as a moped can't go over 50, you don't need a motorcycle endorsement. You see where this is going, he says. The Sabbath is like a governor on the speed of life. All week long we work, we play, we cook, we clean, we shop, we exercise, we answer our text messages, we inhabit the modern world. But finally, we hit the limit. On the Sabbath, we should be slowing down. More than that, we have to come to a full stop. In order to enjoy the Sabbath, you have to slow down the other 6 days. You can't go 90 miles per hour all week running the pedal to the floor and then harrowing your soul to the bone for 6 days straight and then expect to slam on the brakes for Sabbath and then immediately feel awesome. Great words of wisdom. And I thought, how do I make that happen in my life? How do I make that happen where there are deadlines, when things have to get done, when a loved one's in the hospital hanging on for dear life? And then it hits me. Come to me and I will give you the rest you need, Jesus says. I don't hold the world in the balance. I wasn't there myself when all was created, and I certainly don't have all of the answers. Only God does. And so we have to take it one day at a time, like that old gospel hymn says. A good pastoral friend of mine in the city has often told me when he sees me going on that rat race treadmill, he'll say, "Chris, you need to take it one day at a time," with his very calm, Nigerian, wonderful voice. Because he says the papers will still be there on the desk, the deadlines can be extended, and the nurses at the ICU give tremendous care, so what are you worrying about? And I'm starting to learn that. I'm beginning to see that I was never created as a superhero to keep the world going. God is in control. God holds us in his hands, and he calls us to rest. And then I came to this song on my playlist. It's very old. You probably have never heard of this artist. It's a Christian artist called Charlie Peacock. And he has this song called "Lie Down in the Grass." He says, "Voice in the daytime, a dream at night. Out the screen door and into the moonlight. Take a look and you will see someone saying, 'Come unto me.' Swing down from the winner's seat, ears ringing to that ancient beat. Lie down in the grass, lie down in the grass. This merry-go-round, a sight to see, spinning visions of enemies, disconnected and all alone, rest upon the cornerstone. Swing down from the winner's seat, ears ringing to that ancient beat. Lie down in the grass, lie down in the grass. Wash your hands of the twisted thoughts. Pull the switches on what you've been taught. Drop a line and make it straight. A narrow path can lift the weight. And swing down from the winner's seat, ears ringing to that ancient beat. Lie down in the grass, lie down in the grass." I do think we need to return to Eden. We need to return to where it all began. We need to take that Sabbath rest and leave it in God's hands. I think we need to lie down in the grass beside the still waters. I think that we need to begin to slow down, to take in the beauty of Jesus and this beautiful natural world that he's created. I think we need to spend less time on Facebook and Instagram or whatever other platform that we use to post every last thing that we really think everyone really needs to know all the time. I think we need to be still before the Lord, spend more time over lunch with friends, enjoy this life that God has given us. Do unto others, love one another, and rest. The laundry will wait, the papers will rest on the desk, and the pursuit of things will begin to subside. And then we can leave it in his hands, rest in him, and take a break and a breath and live in the garden. Amen. Let's continue with our closing hymn and then our benediction. Take time to be holy. And stand and sing together if we're able.